Hello and welcome to the CompareSoft Facilities Management Podcast. In this episode, we're looking at service management and what it really takes to keep hard and soft FM tasks running smoothly. Today, I'm joined by Lisa Assiotes, a facilities leader with around 25 years of experience. Lisa started on the facilities help desk at Lloyd's of London and is now FM at Ocado Retail, where she runs a highly integrated team and looks after everything from service delivery and health and safety to space planning, events and workplace culture. We'll explore where to start when building FM functions, how Lisa stays on top of services without relying on a dedicated CAFM system, and how her facilities team brings value to the business. Hi Lisa, how are you?
Hi Ryan, I'm really good, thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today. I'm really excited for our chat.
Oh no, thank you for inviting me. I'm really excited to talk about Ocado and the business.
Yes. And so you've spent around 25 years working in facilities as a whole. You know, you started at the help desk at Lloyd's of London and you worked your way up through corporate, charity, gaming, retail environments. How would you describe your current role now as facilities manager at Ocado Retail? What does your typical day-to-day look like?
So my day varies as any FM's day would vary. I think I'm very lucky in my role that I look after a whole range of things. So whilst I manage the building, the contract services here, I'm also really fortunate to work with some of our suppliers. So I host all of our supplier events here on site. So working with different brands, showcasing them in various different events from breakfast offerings, supplier samplings, lunch menus. Food is really at the heart of everything we do here. Our colleagues are real foodies. We have a great contract catering company. So we spend a lot of time and investment on that alongside some of our policies, procedures and day-to-day running of the business. As I say, no 2 days are the same. So it could be anything and everything that we're dealing with, but it's a really great role, really varied role, and one of my favourite from my FM career.
Excellent. And yeah, I've seen a lot on your LinkedIn account of all the food events popping up and it makes me hungry, you know, every time I see it.
I know. I get a lot of that back from me saying that I've made people hungry. We have a great partnership with M&S. So we have a lot of M&S food. We have a lot of launches with them. So I think a lot of those things as well entice people to want to go out and then buy and try some of those products, which is what we try and do with our colleagues as well, so that we can create things here. They can try them at home.
Yeah, exactly. So managing head office, multiple sites, retail environments, that means there's a lot of hard and soft FM tasks to keep on top of. How do you stay on top of your task? You know, how do you look at what's due, what's been completed, what's overdue?
So a to-do list, be it on a help desk function, CAFM system. So I've used various different things over the years. I think probably the thing that's helped and enabled me and the team the most is a RAG report. So all of our compliance is tracked. We work really closely with our integrated service provider, and we know each month where we're at, what's due. And I think that's probably key to our success in maintaining our health and safety and our compliance on site.
Yeah. And that first 90 days at Ocado Retail. So you've come in there, you know, what have you decided first? What have you decided to prioritize first? And will you focus more on creating stability or making an immediate impact?
I guess an element of both. So I've been really lucky that my last 4 job roles have all been brand new FM roles. So I've been able to come into the business, listen to what's working, what's not working, speak to the team, what are the business challenges, the objectives. So my first 90 days here was very much as I've done in my other roles. So a gap analysis, where are we at? What's working, what's not working. We didn't actually have an established FM team here when I joined. So I've been really fortunate that those first 90 days I could look at what's in place, what were the priorities, and what would the team look like? How are we going to shape it? What do we actually need to function and run the building and the business?
Yeah. Would you say that building that team out was the number one priority, like getting that team right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think without the right team, the service delivery to our colleagues is key to what we do. Culture and engagement is massive here at Ocado. And my team spend a large proportion of their time working on initiatives, events, supporting colleagues so that we can make it a great place to work.
Mm.
Without that right team, we wouldn't be able to provide that service delivery. And I think it's really key to what we do as a team.
Yeah. And you touched on it there. So you're starting in places that haven't really had an established in-house facilities management function, How
Yeah.
different is it building a function from scratch compared to when you're stepping into a role where there's already a footprint there? And which do you prefer?
Honestly, I prefer stepping into a new role where it's a blank canvas. So I've been really fortunate that I've been able to use my knowledge, my experience, some of my contacts
Mm,
to help me actually look at what will provide value for money, what provides the best service delivery. I think it's great going into a role where it's already established because you know what works. You'll have your policies, procedures, all the protocols there. But sometimes a fresh pair of eyes walking into an environment and actually looking and listening to what's working actually gives you a whole new
mm,
opportunity to provide a different service level. I think FM works really in a fast-paced environment. I think a lot of businesses where we've come back from COVID, hybrid working, offices now, a lot of offices are going back to 3, 5 days a week. It does allow you to actually look at what service provisions you need and not just stick to the model that you might have had
mm.
that's previously worked. So I think there's some huge advantages to it. And I think it's nice to see businesses investing in FM because not everybody understands what FM does, the value it brings to the business. Quite often, because we're the team that spends the money rather than generates it,
Mm.
I think it's really easy not necessarily to put that investment there, but it does have a day-to-day impact on your business and how the function operates.
That's interesting that people only really understand FM's role or FM exists when something goes wrong.
Yeah. But I guess that's really good in that when something goes wrong, you are the
Yeah.
go-to person. People have developed trust, understanding that actually if something
Mm.
happens, FM are there to support, there to deliver, there to keep the business operational. So it's a good and a bad thing. But I like that we're trusted. We're a trusted team that can actually deliver what the business needs.
Yeah, awesome. And I suppose coming in from scratch, you've helped set that culture. You're a big leader in what sort of FM culture is being set there.
Yeah, so we've looked at how we work, the resources and things we need here on site. So we're listening to our colleague feedback. So we've recently done a refurbishment project where we've installed 100% standing desks, listening to what our colleagues need, new ways of working, which I think has been really well received.
Mm.
We've installed new meeting pods. The demand on meeting facilities have increased as colleagues come back into the office more. So I think that's really helped us kind of look at the landscape of FM and how we function and operate the office.
That's really interesting. The 100% standing desk. I think you mentioned another initiative you introduced. I think it was dogs in the office.
Yeah.
Um, there's so much that goes into that. So much careful planning. One dog per floor. You're accounting for allergies, phobias. Like, you know, what sort of planning goes into that, and how do you measure whether it's actually working or not?
So from planning, to start with, it was listening to colleagues. What did they
Mm.
want? A lot of colleagues have been working from home, returning to the office. So many people got pets during lockdown. They become family members. I know, I think so many people got pets.
Yeah.
So I think it was really nice for us to listen and think, okay, other businesses do this, they achieve it. How can we do it?
Mm.
So we listened to the feedback about the phobias. We listened to the feedback about allergies. We worked with dog owners. So if your dog is registered, vaccinated, so we run a registration program, check that the dogs are well behaved. Can they socialize? And then the one per floor was really so that we listened to our colleagues. It was finding that balance, the risk versus reward
Mm.
of having people be able to bring their dogs into the business, but work safely, still be a secure environment, and make sure that the dog owner and our other colleagues were happy. Everybody loves it. So the level of engagement is huge. I'm not sure for the
Yeah.
person that brings their dog into the office, because everybody knows all the dog names, everybody engages with the colleagues, but it's worked really well, really well. So we have about 15 regular colleagues that bring their dogs into the office. So at least 4 of the 5 days a week we have dogs in. We have a booking system so that we give awareness as to who's going to be in, where they're
Right.
going to be. And we keep those dogs on the floor. We're really fortunate here at our head office. So we've got great outside space. So it's ideal for walking your dog, taking regular breaks.
Mm.
But it was a great initiative to be part of. And again, really leads back to the culture of the business, leading to what our employees would like, how we can support them, and how we can run that as part of the business offering here for facilities.
Mm. And have you seen similar, results in terms of employee engagement with these standing desks as well? Is it in terms of measuring productivity? How do you know that's been a success?
So I think it's kind of two measures. So the team here work and manage all of the health and safety requirements for the business.
Mm.
So annually each year we launch our DSE assessments. And part of that is looking at how colleagues are working with their environment. We also offer a working from home system. So we try and match their setup in the office to their home working environment. And what we found is there was a huge increase in people asking for standing desks, not just
Okay.
those with medical requirements, but
Mm.
those that just felt that they needed to move around a little bit more. They're in the office 6 to 8 hours of a day when they're on site. Some people are in meetings. A lot of people are working and they're desk based, and that just allowed that flexibility. I think as a business, it saved us time, money, and effort. So if we have a request, we don't have to pull out one desk from a whole bank of desks to install a
Yeah.
standing desk. We can actually say, this is your neighborhood, this is your environment, and these are the number of desks available to you and your team. We've also introduced a desk booking system recently. And so that also enables colleagues to then work out where standing desks are, the ones available. So you're not coming into the office environment and thinking, actually, I benefit from that. I can feel the health benefits from working from a standing desk. That's my
Mm.
preference. You can book that in advance to coming into the office.
Okay. Was there anything in place before this desk booking system?
No, so we had
It's entirely new.
during COVID, we did have a desk booking system.
Yeah.
And then we found that as colleagues returned, it wasn't required quite so much. Recently, we've had 120 supply chain colleagues join us here at our head office. So, as part of that project and that initiative, we looked at including additional desks. We've just looked at the nature of how people work, and it just made
Mm.
far more sense to make that investment now, cause as little disruption to our colleagues as possible, and just offer them that flexibility.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I don't know if you've got an Apple Watch at all, Lisa, but every 15 minutes it
Uh-huh.
seems like it's telling me to stand up. So standing desks are a win on our side.
Yeah, I think hugely. You don't realize how much more you move about when you're stood at a standing
Yeah.
desk when you're working. And even when you're on conference calls, pod conferences, listening, engaging with other people,
Mm.
it's just that little bit more activity, that little bit more movement.
Yeah. Goes a long way to health and well-being as well in the workplace.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. So you mentioned there at Ocado, you work with an integrated service provider as sort of an extension of your facilities team. What advantages does an integrated FM team give you in terms of visibility and accountability as opposed to managing multiple third-party vendors?
So I think for us, it works really well. We've probably got quite an unusual setup in that we're based in the office with our integrated service provider,
Mm.
and they provide us our cleaning, catering, security, and maintenance services on site. I guess for us as an FM team, we're a really small team. And we look after so many elements of the business that they are an extension of our team.
Yeah.
And working closely together in the office, we can engage really quickly, clear communication, troubleshooting, using all that experience together. If something comes up, there's a really quick and easy solution, and we can all work together to resolve that. Our job is kind of to cause as little disruption as possible to our colleagues on site. And I think by all being in the office together and working across those service lines, we have a really good understanding of how the business works, what our colleagues need, and how to respond to it quickly and efficiently. And we've got such a good relationship because we understand the business objectives, the
Mm.
project we're working on, the service level agreements. We can work with them and just change priorities. So the health and safety concern arises, we can jump on that straight away. without having the phone calls, the emails, arranging a meeting to then maybe work out an action plan. Everybody
Mm.
works together, so we can just discuss and work on that together.
Yeah. You mentioned there a smaller team. So from your experience, is a larger facility teams necessarily better, or have you found these smaller teams more effective?
I guess that's a difficult question for me to answer because all of my teams have been smaller teams.
Hmm.
And for me, the benefits of a smaller team is they're more engaged. You build really good relationships, you
Yeah.
build trust, share knowledge, and internal promotion opportunities. So you can see people grow, learn, pass on their experience, and it does give more opportunities. Um, I guess because we have an integrated service provider, that kind of makes up for a smaller team.
Mm.
So I haven't really worked in an environment where we've had a large FM team. And a lot of my experience from other FMs I know, the teams do tend to be smaller rather than larger, but it may just be the business areas that I've worked in.
Yeah, that's really interesting. What sort of KPIs are you setting your integrated team members? Like, what matter the most to you?
So health and safety is top of our
Mm.
agenda and compliance. So we work really closely with them on our PPM program, making sure that we're compliant at all times. We use our RAG report as a snapshot as to where we're at, and we have regular meetings with them. And then alongside that, our service level agreement. So we audit the building daily. So we'll pick up any tasks, any activities that need to be completed. And then we just want to be working with that service provider to make sure the turnaround's as quick as possible, just so it doesn't cause any service disruptions.
Yeah. And you mentioned that you don't rely on a dedicated CAFM system or any sort of facilities management tool. So I'm really curious, how do you manage your hard and soft FM tasks? Is it solely on that RAG report?
So for us, from our side of things, from Ocado Retail, yes, pretty much our RAG report and a to-do
Hmm.
list. We also use our calendars really actively. So
Yeah.
we use a lot of our calendars to schedule and program all of our works, all of our events, who's in and out of the office. So we're really reliant on that, where we work with a number of different business units so that we know what's happening and when. So as we schedule works, we don't interrupt any events that we're hosting here on site. So our integrated service provider do have a help desk function,
Hmm.
and they do provide us with regular reports as to where we're at. And then we're quite regularly consolidate those reports to just see, are we up to date on the jobs that we have outstanding? If there's any gaps in our compliance, where are we at with those? When have they been scheduled in? Quite often works might be completed and you're just waiting certification.
Yeah.
And as a team, we will not close anything off until we have those certificates, just so that we know that we've got a fully auditable system should someone come in and just say, can you confirm your
Yeah.
compliance on this? So it may well be that RAG report says something's amber, the work's completed, we're just awaiting the certificates, and then we change it to green. I
Yeah.
think because we're one location, a CAFM system would probably be too advanced for what we'd require here. But when I've worked in other businesses with multiple portfolios or across different countries, I would definitely say it's something that helps you keep track,
Yeah.
manage your performance, know where you're at. But with one location, the system we have is perfect for what we need.
Yeah. Awesome. Is there any current way of working that you think perhaps, I wish this could be automated, or I wish some sort of tool could just improve this little bit here, or are you completely satisfied with how it currently runs?
We're always looking for continuous improvement. And
Yeah.
I guess the thing that's big on our agenda at the moment is AI.
Hmm.
So as a team, we're currently working through the 15 days of AI, just up specking our skills, and looking at our systems, our processes, how can we improve things? Quite a lot of the tasks that we do are repetitive, and we think there's an element of improvement there with some collaboration with AI. So I don't think
Yeah.
AI could ever take over what we do. You need that human element, you need the understanding of the contract, the business, the way that we work, but we can definitely see efficiencies. So I think there's an element of AI will be integrated across our team over the
Hmm.
next 6 to 12 months, for some of those repetitive processes. So things like dog booking, some of
Right.
our events bookings, So things where it would just streamline it. So I don't think there's a system per se, but I do think there are different ways of working that could help us improve.
Yeah, there's that definite case of layering some sort of AI on top. But as you said, it's
Yes.
so important to keep the human in the loop.
Oh, hugely,
Mm.
hugely. I don't think there is any task specifically that AI could undertake
Hmm.
completely without removing the human element. As clever as it is, and as good as it is as a function for us to help us save time, be more efficient, it does need that human touch.
Yeah,
As a team, we've been trialing using it for DSE assessments, and we've found it's really good where the response rate is everything's okay, but where there may be things where there's concerns or assistance required, it really does need that human element.
yeah,
And it's really on that level of interaction and that you're actually deep diving into any of those questions efficiently and not using a tool that will only give one response to that question.
yeah. I'm curious, Ed, of 15 days of AI. Could you just elaborate on that?
Yeah, so as a business, we're really invested in learning and development for our
Mm.
colleagues. And the business has encouraged all of us to take 15 minutes a day. So, 15 minutes a day into your own personal learning and development, but something that you can actually apply to your role, your department, your team to help you work more efficiently. So, it's it starts off just literally doing the basics of AI, and then we'll talk you through various different tasks where you can use it for any of your working day. And you can use AI to see, will it streamline, will it help? So I think one of the things I found really helpful is we carry out a daily audit. So
Mm.
that daily audit will work to our KPIs, will work to our what good looks like guide for our cleaning standards. I can input all of that information into AI. I can download my photographs. I can talk about my role, what I do in the business, the areas of the business I've inspected, and that will then give me an overview of what the success measures are against the KPIs and areas that we might need to put a little action plan in or that we might need to pay a little bit more care and attention to. That information can then be shared with our cleaning supervisors, with our integrated service provider.
Mm.
We've found it a really, really useful tool. And it's something that we do every single day that is not going to save us hours,
Yeah,
but it does save us time. And it means we're giving a consistent approach to the feedback. So it will analyze all of those photographs, all of those areas, and help us say, brilliant, this has really improved in this area. It's consistently improved. Or these are the small areas that we're missing that we need to
mm.
put a little bit more focus and attention on.
Yeah. It's a fantastic way of like learning, continuously training,
Yeah.
and improving, as you mentioned. Yeah, really good initiative. Uh, Budget management is a big part of your role too. So on a
Yeah.
day-to-day level, how do you stay on top of costs and make sure you're really getting value from your suppliers?
So we track all of our spending. So probably like many FMs, as an area of the business that spends money, not generating it, you do need to track the costs. You need to be really
Yeah.
careful. So we also work with our integrated service provider in terms of what plans do we have for the next 12 to 18 months so that we can plan any of that in advance. So any large works, any equipment that might be coming to end of life so that that can be built into our budget
Mm.
schedule. Any larger jobs, any projects, we would look for several different quotes so that we can work to get value for money, and make sure that we can maintain service levels. And then we look at our contracts and delivery of service. As a business that evolves all the time, it's really important for us to look at what's in place. Does it deliver what we need, what our customers and our colleagues need as part of their day-to-day working here in the building? And then we will adjust those contracts accordingly if there's cost savings there to be made.
Yeah. You mentioned, it's the area of spending. Where do you find FM's most overspend and possibly leave value on the table?
Probably maintenance.
Hmm.
So maintenance is one of those ones that it's easy to control anything that's planned maintenance. So you know
Mm.
what's due here, you know what your compliance costs are. Reactive maintenance, I think, is very, very difficult for any FM to manage,
Yeah.
particularly as buildings have more usage. So then you might find that you have more reactive maintenance. So things like doors, access control, So I think some of those things are really difficult to manage.
Yeah. Is there a sort of PPM schedule in place?
So we maintain all of our services here. So that does help us manage our costs, and forecast what we're going to spend for the year. But I think with the current increases in costs, cost of living,
Mm,
I think it's just allowing for those national living wage and those contract increases so that you make sure you factor those into your budgets. It can have a huge impact, particularly when you're running large service contracts. So for our integrated portfolio across maintenance, security, cleaning and catering, that's a huge contract. So
mm,
when you look at then additional costs for national living wage, increases in parts, materials, that has a big impact.
yeah.
We're also really fortunate that we have storage here on site. So we keep a list of critical spares. We have an inventory here on site. So it's just that forward planning of things
Yeah.
to help try and maintain and save costs where we can.
Yeah. That inventory list, it must be huge, I guess, that asset register that you have. How do you manage that? Is there a system for that at all, or is that all manually managed?
That's manually managed as
Yeah.
well. So we don't have a huge asset portfolio here, so it's
Okay.
easier to manage. I would say in other businesses I've been in, where you have multiple locations, you do need an asset management system.
Mm,
It's really important to make sure that's linked in with all your PPM servicing. It's really, really easy to miss equipment if you don't have that asset register linked. So I think we are quite fortunate because we've worked with our service provider for a number of years. We have all of that information in place. So it's easy for us to track unless we make any major changes to any of the plant equipment or anything here on site.
yeah. And how do you demonstrate the value of your spending, that facilities brings to the business? Because it is a case of, if you don't hear from us, we're doing our job. But then I suppose if you're running the events have to be, really engaging for the workplace as well.
Yeah, so we're really fortunate here. So we have Peakon survey, so that links in with our colleagues to measure engagement. And part of those engagement tools and measuring is to do with the working environment. So we're really
Mm,
fortunate in that we get very regular feedback. We use Slack here on site. So we have Slack channels where we have a safer working channel so that if anybody has any challenges to do with the office environment, they can contact us. We have a facilities channel, which is regularly used for ideas for the business. And because we manage the events and the catering here, we also have a food group. So I mentioned that we're huge foodies here.
hmm
It's really important for us to have diversity and inclusion. So we have a group of colleagues on site that may be gluten-free, dairy-free, that will give us advice on products, on our events, making sure that they're inclusive to everybody. So when we devise those menus for the events, it may well be that the product covers one category, but we work with our catering team to make sure that actually that's accessible to everybody. So I guess our biggest measurement of success is the feedback from our colleagues. And we also use a Mo recognition system here.
Okay.
So quite often teams and team members will shout out members of our team or the team in general if we've delivered a really good project, an event that everybody's enjoyed, and then you can nominate employees as well. So there's recognition there as well. So we're really quite fortunate as a team. We do get feedback, good
Yeah.
and bad,
Yeah.
but we think it helps us manage the building and improve the service for the colleagues.
Is there any sort of competition between you guys on who's getting the most shout outs?
No, do you know, I think because we're a small team, everybody does celebrate each other's success.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would say everybody in my team plays a huge part in anything that we achieve.
Yeah.
With the events and things, there's a lot of behind the scene things. So the fun elements, the event, engaging with the suppliers, talking to the entrepreneurs, how they've started the business, how they engage with Ocado. But then behind that is all the health and safety paperwork, the risk
Mm,
assessment, the insurance checks, deliveries, moving, setting up the event. So I think with all of us, it's very much any success is seen as a team success. So if a team
yeah.
member shouted out, it's really something we celebrate.
Yeah, that close-knit team, that's fantastic to hear.
Yeah.
You've touched on so many responsibilities of this role. Is there anything that sort of, like someone coming in new to a facilities management role, is there a responsibility that tends to sort of surprise them that, oh, that's my responsibility too, beyond the hard and soft FM delivery?
I think health and safety can sometimes be the surprise. It's kind of always an element of an FM role.
Mm,
Not all businesses have their own dedicated health and safety support. So I think that's something that sometimes takes people a little bit by surprise. Culture sometimes as well.
mhm,
So I feel really quite passionate about culture and the employee experience and the onboarding and facilities being able to touch part of that process. Again, not in all environments is facilities necessarily involved in that. Um, I don't know what else really, to be honest. But I think there's just so many opportunities in FM. I don't
Yeah,
think any
yeah.
two jobs are the same, having worked across different environments. If you love people, if you love being able to shape, mold, improve, change things, it's a great career opportunity and a great environment for people to work in and explore.
Yeah, excellent. Lisa, this has been really insightful look into service management, the role of facilities management. I'd just like to close with a final question. If someone is entering a new organization as of FM or setting out a strategy for the first time, what is the single most important piece of advice you would give them?
Oh, so listen, talk, go into the environment, understand the culture, what are the challenges. Probably the most important thing is to just go in and embrace what's happening. How can you be part of it? How can you help improve, shape things? I
Mm,
think sometimes you can be given a list or an agenda of things to work on. It's really nice for you to engage with other people and just understand what it's like from their perspective. So for me, I would just say be curious, which is one of our values here. But be curious, have the opportunity to talk, listen, and understand, and maybe shape or change something that would have a huge impact on colleagues that you might not have known about had you not have been curious.
excellent. Lisa, you've been a brilliant guest. You've given us such a practical view of what it takes to manage FM services well, and that's going to be useful for any facilities manager dealing with endless demands, as you put it. So thank you again for joining us.
No, thank you very much. I've really enjoyed it.
Excellent. And good luck with the 15 days of AI as well. Possibly look at
Thank
booking another
you.
episode to talk about that.
Fabulous. I look forward to it.
Excellent. And thank you all for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.